I get it when it comes to the San Francisco 49ers, but I also don't get it. I get it in the sense that this is a young, talented team. They've got talent on defense, they've got talent on offense, including what looks like a young, very, very promising quarterback in Colin Kaepernick. So I get all the buzz. This is a team that made it to the Super Bowl, came this close to potentially winning the Super Bowl. They've brought in people like Anquan Boldin. They've kept a lot of their core in place. I understand a lot of the preseason buzz surrounding the San Francisco 49ers and why so many people really legitimately believe that they're going to be Super Bowl contenders again in 2013. But then I really don't get it. Usually, there's a curse for the Super Bowl loser. A lot of times, the Super Bowl loser the following season doesn't even make the playoffs, let alone be a real Super Bowl contender, let alone make it back to the Super Bowl, let alone make it back and win a Super Bowl. Ladies and gentlemen, when was the last time a team went back to the Super Bowl the year after losing in the Super Bowl? Do you know? Sure you do. It was the 1993 Buffalo Bills, who had also lost the Super Bowl in the 1990 season, the 91 season, and the 92 season. So they had a stretch of 4 straight years. There's been nobody after that. And before that, it would have been Elway's Broncos in the 86 and 87 season. It doesn't happen very often. More often than not, in recent years in particular, the team that loses a Super Bowl the following year doesn't even make the playoffs. And that's just the way it is. When looking at the San Francisco 49ers team, you're going to find out whether or not Colin Kaepernick is the man this year. I think he can be. I think he very well could be. But the key difference is when people are saying, God, Kaepernick was so awesome the second half of the year. Yeah, a lot of teams didn't have a lot of time to adjust to him. And the fact is he really only played about half a season. So Harbaugh was able to mask some things and some deficiencies in Kaepernick's game in large part because you didn't have a full body of work. You didn't have a full season of film to look at when breaking him down. Well, now, with an entire offseason, you've got those games that he played in the regular season and the playoffs and the Super Bowl and now preseason action. There is a lot more footage, a lot more film to break down on Colin Kaepernick. There's a lot more ability now for opposing coaches, opposing defenses to game plan more effectively against Colin Kaepernick. I'm not going to be as surprised this year by the read option crap. And then, unfortunately for the 49ers, their top receiver, who really came into his own once Kaepernick took over, and that's Michael Crabtree, he ruptured his Achilles tendon, and he's gone for maybe most of the season, maybe all of the season. Now, they brought in Anquan Boldin, and that definitely doesn't hurt. But Boldin's not exactly a spring chicken. Crabtree was just starting to peak, just really starting to come on his own. Now, you've got one of the best offensive lines in football, and part of the reason is because of the 3 first-round picks they've spent on that line over the years, in Joe Staley, in Anthony Davis, and Mike Iupati. When you invest big in your offensive line, and you invest it on the right players that fit in the right places, it's not a surprise that your offensive line is very good at opening holes in the running game and protecting your passer. But my question is Kaepernick really going to be the man? Is Frank Gore still going to be able to be a featured back now that he's entering his 30s? Where is the explosiveness coming from in this offense? That's what I really want to know. It's, you've got Vernon Davis, and that's all fine and good, but where are the explosive plays going to come in other places? As far as defensively, you would classify the 49ers to be an elite defensive unit, and you would be correct. They've got a lot of talent on that unit, led by Patrick Willis, other players such as Navarro Bowman and Aldon Smith. This is a unit that has talent, especially in that front 7. They did struggle at times, however, to generate a pass rush without Justin Smith, and you saw that in particular in the Super Bowl. Not to mention, the secondary of the 49ers was exposed. Not nearly as good as people may have been led to believe. And that's something that's going to be interesting to watch throughout the course of this 2013 season. As far as the 49ers, they've got a brutal, and this is one of the hindrances or curses of being a team that makes it to the Super Bowl, wins your division, etc. You get a really tough schedule. Weeks 1 through 5, they have a brutal schedule to open the year. They start off with Green Bay at home. Then they go to Seattle, home against Indianapolis, at St. Louis, home against Houston. Those are 5 teams that are definite playoff contenders this year. 4 of those teams who made the playoffs last year. Just think about that. That's the type of schedule that the 49ers are starting off with. If they could come out of the gates and they go 3-2 in this stretch, they might be just fine. I anticipate they might go 2-3 or 1-4 to start the season. I'm not going to say the 49ers are going to have a losing record. No, I still think they're going to win like 9 games. But I'm not as big on them as a lot of the other national media and a lot of other football fans are because I'm a big believer in history. And ultimately, history indicates that A, the 49ers' chances of making it back to the Super Bowl are very slim to none. And B, they might even have trouble just making it back to the damn playoffs. C, in particular, in a division that still has Seattle and has a very young, exciting, up-and-coming St. Louis Rams team.